this episode of Film Stock Reviews, I'm reviewing the supernatural horror film, The Black Phone. The Black Phone is the adaptation of the 2004 short story of the same name by Joe Hill, Stephen King's son. Now, it's 1978, and a serial child abductor named The Grabber, played by Ethan Hawke, is terrorizing a Denver suburb town. Now, I do like how the aspect that this takes place in Denver and not your local, normal, big metropolitan city. The film is directed by Scott Derrickson, who directed Sinister and Doctor Strange. It's based on the screenplay by Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill. It stars Ethan Hawke, Mason Thames, and Madeline McGraw. And like I said, a teenager is abducted by the so-called grabber, but then he also uses a mysterious phone in the basement where he's held to contact the dead, basically the dead boys that were killed by the grabber. Now, a lot of it is supernatural and horror. Now, we do get a foundation and the buildup of this story. We know that Finney and Gwen are really close brother and sister, and it's really good to see that dynamic. Their father is abusive and he's drinking. He beats Gwen for certain things because she has these dreams, and I'll get to that shortly. So a lot of two kids get abducted. One of them is by the name of Bruce Yamada, who we see in the beginning of the film, and then later on it's one of Finney's best friends. This is really an interesting way of how about a horror movie was done. The supernatural aspect is there. Now, Finney is really interesting because he's the only one that actually fights the grabber. Ethan Hawke as the grabber is scary and unnerving at times because he hides his face with this mask, and the mask on the bottom is detachable, and every expression he's going through that day he puts on, like he's smiling, he's feeling sad, he's feeling happy, he's feeling angry. You see that. And basically the grabber's appearance was based off of Lon Chaney's character from the 1927 lost film London After Midnight. It's a very hard film to find and look and watch, but it was based off of that. The aspect of the police looking for Finney is interesting, but then we see Gwen. She has these dreams, and her mother had these same abilities, and the reason I say abilities is because that I feel like Gwen is a medium at her young age. She can see things, she can sense things, and she uses her dreams as a way to find her brother, even through the dead teenagers that the grabber already killed. Now, Gwen is a powerhouse. She does everything she can to protect her brother. There is a fight scene where the brother is getting beat up, and she just comes around with a rock and just starts wailing. And, you know, the way she stands on her own by talking to adults is great. There's a great funny moment where she's talking to the police in the principal's office, and it's really fun how it's done. Not only that, the aspect of the supernatural feeling of how Finney is able to talk to these spirits or of the dead teens, of the boys, as you know, he's talking to them on the phone. There's static, there's electricity, but then off to the side you see them talking to him, but he can't see them, he can only hear them. And certain things he remembers, like the kids, the boys don't remember their names, but he tells them their names. And as they're speaking to him, the voice, you can hear the voice on the phone, but their mouth is moving and it's still staticky, which is a really great concept and how it was done. It was a really interesting. And I do love how the character of Finney stood on his own, like certain ways. And the reason that these teens were killed were a way where the grabber played a game with them. And Finney's the only one that actually kind of understood what was happening. And I feel like Finney knew how to contact or talk to these spirits because his sister Gwen has that connection, and his mother also had that connection. So I feel like it's in the family, and the only one that doesn't have it is the father. But I feel like the only way that Finney was able to talk on this phone with these dead boys and the spirits of these dead boys was through the gift that he has along with his sister Gwen. It's great. The culmination is amazing. Its aspect, it's intense. It's definitely supernatural. There are a few jump scares. That's it. But it's more so psychological what's going on. when you find out the aspect of what the grabber is, it's really, really scary because some movies, don't hit on the topic of this. It's always usually abducting girls, or, it's never usually about boys. The performances are great. They stuck to the 2004 short story from Joe Hill, Stephen King's son, to a T with different changes. Ethan Hawke was great, even though he was behind the mask. Mostly the whole movie, I want to say. And Mason Thames was fantastic as Finney. He looked like he was a young Ethan Hawke in a way, which is really good. Madeline McGraw as Gwen was, oh my god, fiery. These psychic dreams she had, she really, really stood on her own. And it was great. And then you have James Ranson, who played Eddie in It Chapter 2, and his character is the grabber's brother. Really interesting aspect of how he's doing things, and it's just a fun time. But it's just interesting how this story came to be. This is a very underrated horror movie, and it's going to be until people watch it. Scott Derrickson knows how to direct a horror film and absolutely write one as well. Due to Scott Derrickson's departure from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which he was signed on to film, but he left due to creative differences, this led him to The Black Phone, which was a project he and his screenwriter, Cargill, had and they wanted to make, but they gave him time to do it. This was released from Blumhouse Productions and Jason Blum, and it was great. This movie was pushed back numerous times, and it really hard to release a horror movie in the summertime because it doesn't get usual praise. Usually horror movies are released in January or February, but seeing this released like that and given in that time and that aspect that this film generated positive reviews and the story and the interesting aspect, and we do get backstories on each boy that was abducted and why. The grabber's backstory is interesting. We don't really get a backstory to the grabber. He's just in his own little world, but I'm pretty sure if or when this movie makes a certain amount of money at the box office, we'll get a prequel movie, The Black Phone Origins or The Black Phone 2 Origins, which could be a sequel and prequel, where it leads to where us understanding of who the grabber is, Ethan Hawke's character, why he's called the grabber, and what led him to do this, and why only abduct boys. It's a clever horror film, and I absolutely loved it. And hopefully this gets the rave reviews it deserves, and I would love to see more short stories turned into movies by Joe Hill, because this was unpredictable and crazy, and the ending is just truly shocking and you don't expect it at all. For me, The Black Phone gets 5 out of 5 stars. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about The Black Phone. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? Did you like Ethan Hawke's character as the grabber? What did you think about the kid actors? Finney, played by Mason Thames, and Gwen, played by Madeline McGraw. Which did you like better? Did you like the aspect of how everything was going in this movie? And I do want to say there are some plot holes, minor, but nothing too crazy. So let me know in the comment section below about the questions I just asked. Let me know what rating you would give The Black Phone, and I'll see you guys in the next review video.